Hello YouTube, Redhead Takes here with the Week 9 NFL picks. Last week again, I think I had 9 right, which it was not terrible, but always can do better. My opinion is between 8 to 9 picks right every week, depending on how many buys there are. This is pretty good. That's over 50%. You really can't ask for much more in a league where parity reigns. And parity definitely reigns in the NFL today more than it ever has before. But to the video we go. In our first game, on the Thursday game, the normal crap box that is the Thursday Night Football, we have the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Houston Texans. I nearly said the Philadelphia Phillies, who I hope they lose the World Series. Otherwise, we'll go into a recession. But Philadelphia Eagles, I think, are just going to wreck shop on Houston this week. Houston did not look great at all. You could tell their offensive line was lacking last week, as Dameon Pierce was not able to get going at all last week. It was really unfortunate, especially if you have a fantasy. Philly coming off an amazing game against the really shitty secondary for the Steelers, but even still, they look great. A.J. Brown was amazing. Hurts was amazing. Probably going to be another shootout, at least for the Eagles. The Texans are going to have to throw, but they're not going to be able to do so. If the Texans win, I'll be shocked. It's probably not going to be close at all. In our next game, we have the Miami Dolphins versus the Chicago Bears. Again, Dolphins should win this game pretty clearly. They just have a better team overall. Justin Fields' performance was good last week, but he did allow that fumble because he jumped over the defender and allowed Parsons to go all the way back for a touchdown. Again, Bears might have a little more offense. I don't think their offense last week was a complete fluke because they did beat the Dallas Cowboys defense, but still, I don't like them at all. It's a November game, but it's still not a snowy game. I think 2-0 will get better. The Bears defense is not good, and Tyreek Hill is probably set to have another big game. At least I hope so for fantasy reasons. Again, I don't think it's close. If the Bears win, I'll be shocked. Next, we have the Panthers and the Bengals. Again, Panthers coming off a terribly disappointing game last week, thanks to DJ Moore being a moron, and the Bengals just getting absolutely boat raced, both sides of the ball, by the Cleveland Browns. Shocking, to say the least. I think you can clearly say the Bengals have been affected without Jamar Chase. He just stretches field so much and draws so much attention, allows his other receivers to get open. So we'll see how that works in this game. But again, Panthers don't have as good of a secondary as the Browns, so maybe it might be a little better. I'm going to pick the Bengals, a home field advantage. And just because the Panthers are still not a very good team, they just nearly beat the Falcons, who I think aren't very good. They're just average, very average. Just gotten a couple lucky wins. So, next we have the Packers and the Lions. This is a measuring stick game for me for the Packers. As a Packers fan, if the Packers don't win, I feel like giving up on them. I know the Lions have been good on offense this year. Their defense has just been so poor. If Rodgers cannot do anything against this terrible defense, then all hope is lost. Probably going to be a close one just because Packers and Lions games are always close. Hopefully, for the Lions' sake, DeAndre Swift is able to get going a little bit more because he hasn't been able to do so since coming back from his injury. And who knows if that'll improve in this game. Probably, like I said, probably going to be a close one just because the Packers make it close against the Lions for whatever reason. But I think the Packers win by a touchdown. But the Lions give it their all, as they always do in these games. Next we have the Colts and the Patriots. I'm just straight up picking the Patriots. I'm done picking the Colts because they just disappoint me every time I pick them. In their games this year, when I pick them to win, they've lost, and when they don't pick them, they win. So maybe they'll actually beat the Patriots. Patriots look pretty good last week. Ramondre Stevenson still looks like a great running back. Who knows what the Colts are doing with Jonathan Taylor? I know their offensive line is not good. And who knows if Taylor is even fully healthy, recovering from his injury where he missed a couple games, but I don't know. Home field advantage, I give it to the Patriots, and just the Colts are a work in progress until Sam Ehlinger can improve better. He didn't have the terrible game last week, but he didn't have a great game either, so I think the Patriots just have a little bit more. Probably a close game, though. Next, we have the Bills and the Jets. Jets, after believing they should have beat the Patriots last week, their offense is just not the same without Breece Hall. Yes, they can still run the ball. Their defense is still pretty good, but if you ask Zach Wilson to win you the game, he will probably be unable to do it. So they're probably going to be down in this game. Bills coming off a win against the Packers was a lot closer than probably most people would think. But the Bills are still top-notch offense. Their defense is still great. It is in New Jersey, so maybe that gives them the edge, but I don't think so. I think the Bills win pretty handily in this one. Just slowly start to fall back down to earth. Sadly, because of Breece Hall being injured, but still, nonetheless, a loss is a loss, and I don't think the Jets win this game. Next, we have the Minnesota Vikings versus the Washington Commies. A toss-up, to be honest. Washington's been playing pretty great lately. See if they can knock off another team that everybody thought would be good. The Vikings, coming down to the wire last week. Their defense showed up in the end. But they did give up a lot of yards to Kyler Murray, and that's kind of concerning. I don't think the Vikings' defense is very good. Their offense is spotty. They did add TJ Hawkinson this week, so who knows if that'll help. Him being there probably affects Adam Thielen and others. Probably doesn't affect Justin Jefferson in terms of fantasy value. The Commies, Taylor Heineke has been kind of a revelation. But I'll pick the Vikings, but it'll probably be close. Kirk Cousins versus his former team. We'll see what happens. Next we have the Raiders versus the Jags. Raiders coming off that absolutely disappointing loss to the Saints. Jags continue to fall, losing against the Broncos. Boy, this is a toss-up if I've ever seen one. I don't know what to do for this one. Not at all. Maybe just because the Raiders, I think, have more offensive firepower. I think their defense might be a little better, but that's not saying much. Jags, man, it makes you think what would have happened to Trevor Lawrence if he never would have had Urban Mire as his coach. How much further developed he would be. It's just a great shame what's happened to him, and Urban Meyer can never be forgiven for that. But Raiders win, but it's probably close. Next we have the Chargers versus the Falcons. Chargers with a terrible run defense. Falcons have been running the ball really well. It is in Atlanta. Chargers will be playing without Mike Williams, and that might affect Justin Herbert a little bit, but I think the Chargers win this game, get back off the schneid. They are coming off a bye week, so they should be a little rested. Austin Eckler should be ready to go. I think the Chargers win this one because I don't think Falcons are as good as people think or make them out to be. They just had a couple of lucky wins, especially last week against the Panthers. Falcons can run the ball. They got rid of Calvin Ridley the other day, so who knows what they're doing with their future. That would have been a future key piece when they actually got a quarterback or when Desmond Ridder was ready, but I digress. Chargers win. Next we have the Seahawks versus the Cardinals. Again, our Cardinals came up short last week. Game ending on a Kyler Murray sack. The Seahawks looked pretty decent last week. They finally gave the Giants their first loss since week 1. And, oh boy, I think Kenny Walker's probably going to have a big game this week against the Cardinals. I mean, Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison were able to run over their defense all week last week. Cardinals have been able to shut down or keep in check many first seed or number 1 wide receivers this year, and that trend probably doesn't change. But I think Seahawks have a little bit more. But it is a divisional game, so who knows. Next we have the Rams versus the Bucs. Again, another toss-up game. I have no idea how to feel about this. Rams are just so disappointing. They came out playing strong last week, but then in the second half game just completely collapsed. And the 49ers enforced their will on them. Buccaneers, same thing last week. Their offense looked a little better. Brady was able to get to Mike Evans more. I don't know what to feel. Cooper Kupp seems to not be injured so badly, so he'll probably play, but it's in Tampa, so I'll go with the Bucs, but you really don't feel comfortable going either way, because I think both teams are kind of trash. But yeah, Buccaneers win in a close one. Next we have the Titans versus the Chiefs in a battle of AFC heavyweights. Who will win? Chiefs are coming off a bye. Derrick Henry has been amazing for the Titans. I'm assuming Malik Willis will probably be starting, but don't quote me on that. So that might give an edge a little bit to the Chiefs' defense. Yeah, Titans' offense has been surprisingly good ever since the first 2 weeks. Chiefs' offense has been amazing all year. Their defense has been pretty underrated. Boy, because it's a home field advantage, I think I give it to the Chiefs, but the Titans beat the Chiefs last year in Kansas City, and it was not close. So, who knows? Derrick Henry probably has a great game again. But Chiefs win in a close one in what should be a great Sunday night matchup. In our final game of the week, we have the Baltimore Ravens versus the New Orleans Saints. Saints coming off that big surprising win last week against the Raiders. The Ravens winning a close one against the Buccaneers. The Ravens offense has been a mystery this year. Lamar Jackson finally showed up last week a little bit more. The Saints, Andy Dalton, like I've said in previous shorts, Andy Dalton should be the starting quarterback for the rest of the year. You can't possibly go back to Jameis Winston now. He's just all over the floor, all over the field, and Andy Dalton just looks pretty accurate. Just doesn't make mistakes, I guess, other than the week before against the Cardinals, but I don't know. It is in New Orleans, so maybe they win. I mean, their defense was amazing last week. Their defense is finally getting healthy, and Marshawn Lattimore still hasn't come back yet, so it's probably going to get even better. The homer in me wants to pick the Saints, but I should probably go with the Ravens. Ravens haven't lost for a couple of weeks. I'll go with the Saints. It's a toss-up. Should probably be a really good game, but Saints over the Ravens. And there you go. There's my picks for the week. Just to let you know, I've been really trying to build my Rumble platform. It's been going well for me. Just been moving my content from here over there, and it's been receiving good reception. So hit that up if you want to see more spicy takes that YouTube would probably frown on, especially in this election season. So, and then locals, Twitch. I usually Twitch every Wednesday night, playing through Red Dead Redemption 1 right now. And here, YouTube, of course. But those are my social media sites. Rumble is a really great platform. It's really growing every day. Try and find me there at Redhead Takes, where you can actually comment and say whatever you want without having to worry about getting censored. Just don't do any kind of porn or anything, which is obvious. But I love memes. I love that kind of stuff. So send that stuff to me at Rumble. Hit me up there. And as always, have a great day. Go Pack Go. And God bless.